I'm curious what you think about Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker and like the difference between playing, a Metal Gear Solid game on a PlayStation 2 as opposed to, the PSP. And I heard that, I personally don't own a PSP. That's my gripe. I heard that like Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker is just like a huge time sink. I wondered, what you thought about that.
Absolutely. Like just going back to replay missions, try to get better rankings. There's a ton of stuff to unlock. The campaign itself is very, very long. Plus, there's a lot of other stuff you can do with the acquisition and distribution of all your troops, trying to sort of manage Outer Heaven, build it into this massive sort of corporation, be able to, as a result, improve your own stats. So just that sort of like RPG style building element is very cool. And I was very sort of worried that the controls wouldn't work on PSP as well as they were on PS2, but for what it is, I think they do a very good job of it. And it translates well.
And SwordHunter, what have you been playing?
Oh boy, I gotta say I'm still stuck on Halo Reach. I mean, I can't put it down. See someone waiting back there. Yes, another one. Unfortunately, I haven't had too much time overall to play, but there's a lot to do in that game. I like the challenges aspect that they have. Like it keeps bringing you back into the game with new things to do, mostly online, and other obviously achievements to do. So I like what they're doing with the game. I mean, it's basically a final Halo game. The presentation is really was well done, and obviously it's going to keep bringing me back and playing that. I did just buy Batman Arkham Asylum used, finally, and it took me long enough. So once I get some time on my hands, originally it was.
You get it for used for 13 bucks.
I can't complain. I was waiting for some good deal, basically, to pick it up, and finally it came along. So I'm going to be enjoying that once I get some time on my hands, which isn't easy to come by these days with school. But when you can, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I've heard so many good things about it. Presentation-wise, graphics, gameplay, other different modes that they have in there, other challenges, collection-wise, I think it's going to be fantastic. And of course, looking forward to the second game once I finish.
City. I'd actually say Arkham Asylum is the best Metal Gear game this generation.
Because of all the stealth and all that?
Yeah, it does a better job being Metal Gear than Metal Gear does.
Interesting. So after we discussed what we've been playing recently for the past couple of weeks, we like to break in because we do a bi-weekly show. I think it's another thing that for podcasting you want to keep your show on a schedule. And for during the Super Smash Bros. Brawl days, we did weekly shows, which is very challenging. But I think it helps a pattern that you really stick to and really don't stray away from. It really defines that listener base, and they really depend on when you get new shows. But as far as what we do for every other week is we look at the latest gaming headlines from the past couple of weeks. And I first wanted to talk about a game, and not really, it's going to be a game system that's really close to my heart because, like I mentioned, I did go to E3 and get to try it. It's the Nintendo 3DS. And for those that haven't heard about it, picture your Nintendo DS. It's pretty standard. You got the clamshell sort of graphics with touchscreen on the bottom and DS on the top. Not DS, just a
wider screen.
A wider screen on top. But the key is with the 3DS is that it's three-dimensional graphics. Like if you're actually sitting in a movie theater with with all the glasses on, like you're sitting to watch Avatar, except this your handheld gaming system, your graphics are actually popping out at you without glasses. So it's going to be pretty incredible. I was blown away when I got to try all the different tech demos they had. I think another thing is going to be the game library for the 3DS is going to be incredible. Not only do you have Nintendo, bringing their top titles like they're bringing back a remake of Ocarina of Time for The Legend of Zelda in 3D. You're going to have your Mario Kart, Paper Mario, Nintendogs. You got Professor Layton, even games where it's going to be like My Garden, and you get to take care of a garden and look at it in 3D, even things like that. It's going to be coming out on February 26th in Japan, and probably will be coming out around March in the US. And I wanted to get you guys' opinion from look, you guys who are very diligent looking at at E3 and the news and all that, seeing all the different conferences. When you saw the 3DS and like all the different news that was popping around, what did you guys think about it?
Well, overall, Nintendo had far and away the best conference overall. Microsoft had a couple announcements that weren't really any great kind of news. They were trying to push Kinect, which they had already talked about the night prior, and that just like overall wasn't very impressive. Sony's was more. I mean, they announced a couple new titles and all, which was interesting. I think Microsoft's was more like a business conference, and Sony did a better job of actually presenting some gaming news. But Nintendo far and away had the best conference in terms of what their audience was looking for. They announced all of basically their first party major titles that got people excited about what Nintendo was bringing to the table. And they just capped it off with the 3DS, which is going to be amazing hardware. It's totally going to revamp what handheld gaming is going to be like. How Sony is pushing to do 3D on the console scale. How they're going to have, you need your 3D ready TV with DLTP. You're going to need glasses for each person. You're going to need, also Move controllers that they're pushing for each person, which you're running. That's going to be $100 total with the navigation controller. But handheld 3D gaming without glasses is, it's just blowing whatever Sony has to the table out of the water. They're still going to try to compete, but overall, like what Nintendo keeps innovating, and what they're doing is, it's a really good job in doing so. Their game library, in addition to their first-party console and first-party titles, they're also getting incredible third-party support. So overall, like they're still, they're bringing like all they have to the table, and it's really impressive.
And Nintendo's also, improving their online system. They're, trying to support a feature where, they seem like the 3DS is always connected. You're always, seem to be downloading new material. You're always, connecting to new players with some sort of tag mode. Super Street Fighter 4 from Capcom, which is, a surprisingly accurate port from the console games. They're going to be featuring a tag mode where, you're going to pass, a player that doesn't even necessarily have. I forget the heavy bass here. Doesn't even necessarily have the actual game in the device, and you're going to be pitted against matches with each other just in the blink of an eye. I mean, you can even imagine for a future Pokemon game, for those that are a fan of that franchise, if you just pass by them and your monsters battle it out without you even noticing, and you get results. I mean, the potential is amazing, especially when you consider how feeble, by comparison, the Wii and DS's online capacities are. Currently, the Nintendo 3DS is slated for a price in Japan that's 250,000 yen, which with the current exchange rate, comes up to about $300. But people are thinking, well, does that actually mean it's going to be $300 here? The thing is, when both the Nintendo Wii and the Sony PSP were first launched, well, those also had prices of $250,000. And then they ended up launching for $250 and $199, respectively, for Wii and PSP. So that's another thing that we have to take in consideration. Honestly, whatever it is, from what I saw at the show, I honestly, the first time the graphics actually came out of me without glasses, I gasped. And it's to have that kind of visceral reaction at a video game, it's astonishing. And part of Nintendo's really intelligent marketing is that you don't know what it's like until you actually see, like the demo, probably in your local GameStop, your local Best Buy. And then once you see it, you're going to be amazed and you don't want to put down anything that you want for it. Did you have any additional thoughts on the 3DS?
My additional thought is that if this thing is coming out in March, that's coming out at the same time as Marvel vs. Capcom. I don't know which I'm going to fanboy over more. But I am very much in support of the 3DS, especially their part about not having to use 3D glasses, because I don't know about you guys, but when I have to do this, I am well aware of the fact that I look like a complete and total idiot. And I would rather not have to wear these things anytime I want to use the effects, so...
Hey man, they're doing, black and white style, not black, but just black style sunglasses with the current 3D. I don't know about those red and white ones.
They came with Arkham Asylum, don't judge me.
Okay. Do you think you look look more like a fool with the 3D glasses on, or playing Kinect?
I'll get back to you on this one.
That's a good point.
Well, still though, I am very much in support of 3DS, especially the game library. Obviously, all the Nintendo ones you mentioned, but there's also a lot of third-party support. We've got like Metal Gear. That's going to be a huge one. I'm looking at ones like Snake Eater and Tales of the Abyss, and I'm thinking these are PS2 games, and they're translating down to a DS system with no loss in quality. In fact, some of them actually look better. So I am honestly amazed every time I see a screenshot. I'm very, very eager to see how the system develops and where things go from here.
What were the controls like?
For what?
For like the different demos that you had at E3.
Well, a lot of them were just, demos. Like, you didn't really have much interactivity with them, but you controlled the camera. And so you got to, use the slide pad, which I gotta say, the slide pad for Nintendo and having an analog stick is amazingly smooth. But the way they had a lot of the demos set up is that, you just controlled the camera and you got to see a lot of the depth, which was really nice. I mean, some of the other features that they had were like the 3D camera, because the 3DS has, two cameras, kind of like a, eyes, distance away from each other. So you can take a camera with the 3DS and, have your friend do like a cool action pose, like punch. And with the 3D camera, you can actually see those pictures back in 3D. Also, you have like augmented reality cards, where you put them on a table and do different games that use the camera in real time, and it's a game using the augmented virtual reality. I mean, really cool stuff, and it's going to be really amazing. I want to talk about not just 3DS, and we had a little Kinect demonstration, whatever, but getting back to like the latest gaming news, which is what we do here for the gaming podcast, Show Me Your News, is the Professor Layton and Ace Attorney crossover that has just been announced recently for Level 5 and Capcom teaming up with two of the biggest puzzle and puzzle game sort of franchises. Yeah, well, I mean, aside from Pokemon for being like a DS,
but they're definitely out there.
And as far as for third party goes for Nintendo, I mean, it's really amazing. So it's going to be coming out in Japan. It hasn't been announced for a North American release. And this is where, the fan bases are going to be, chomping at the bit to get this out. They had a trailer, and, it was, subbed a couple days in English. What did you think about the trailer?
I am very excited. The trailer particularly sort of pushed me over the edge where I was just like, I need this game now. Nintendo, Capcom, please take my money. I don't want my wallet anymore here. But I've been waiting for animated Phoenix Wright for so long. That enough was enough. Managed to push me over the edge, but I'm very excited about this game. I'm eager to see how they mix the two gameplay styles. Like, it's possible they may have you collecting evidence by solving puzzles and then using that in courtroom sequences. But I do like how it seems like they're not pushing it as just like a crossover game. Like, they just randomly throw in verses for the heck of it. It's like Layton and Phoenix seem to actually hate each other, and I'm eager to see sort of how those two sort of their personalities feed off of each other and how it helps to progress the story.
I don't know about hate. They kind of show a little disdain, but I wouldn't say
they sort of on opposite sides, didn't they?
Well, they do sort of on opposite sides. But like every line of dialogue, it sounds like they're sort of trying to undermine the other. Like, I don't like that guy in Silk Hat, or just because he's a lawyer doesn't mean he knows everything. Right. Stuff like that.